You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the October 3rd, 2023 meeting of the Michigan City Common Council. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to our October 3rd meeting of the Michigan City Common Council. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a silent prayer? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And before we go forward with our roll call, I'd like to introduce our newest member of the Commons Council, Dr. Vijay Kaura. He's finishing out the term vacated by Councilwoman Dalia Jigas. Welcome, Dr. Kaura.
Thank you.
Ms. Nyla, on the roll call, please.
Mr. Dabney,
Present.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Present.
Mr. Mack,
Present.
Ms. Deitch,
Present.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Present.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Present.
Mr. Simmons,
Present.
Dr. Cora,
Present.
and Ms. Tillman.
Present.
We have 9 present and no one absent.
We have a roll call. I was informed that our minutes are not complete, so we'll be moving on to reports of standing committees. Councilman Prespolinski.
No, I don't have anything to
Okay.
report.
Sorry about that. Finance Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Michigan City Finance Committee meeting met on tonight, October 3rd, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. However, we did not have a quorum. I did move forward with an informal. I will start off with the Michigan City Riverboat and Boyd claims docket for October 3rd, 2023. Riverboat Fund number 2235, $1,679.59. Riverboat EFT Fund number 2235, $200,000. Those were for LaPorte County Herald Dispatch, $322.57. WS Darley and Company, $1,357.02, totaling the $1,679.59. And EFT for City of Michigan City in the amount of $50,000. And City of Michigan City for $150,000, totaling $200,000. The total claims is for $1,679.59. Riverboat statement of cash position fiscal year to date, September 28th, 2023. Ending balance, $6,243,369.42. I did do a somewhat of a PSA in regards to, we're all aware that that our country is in the middle or in the bricks of a government shutdown. And I just wanted to have shed some light for those that they did make a decision to extend that of not shutting down the federal government for 45 days. And just to be aware of some of those things, I was just curious, being the city finance chair, I reached out to the city controllers to find out, would this or could this have any impact on the functioning of our city government? And in actuality, it could. This isn't something that I'm saying to put fear into anyone, but to be knowledgeable about and to monitor and watch to see what's going to come out of the federal government shutdown, to see how it could impact if it does move forward in regards to special programs like WIC and SNAP, housing benefits. It could affect some of the federal or state funding and grants that we receive. And I just wanted to be proactive to know if this did move forward, how would this impact what we do in order for us to financially be able to sustain if we do have a federal government shutdown. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Claims docket, October 3rd, 2023. Fund 2235 Riverboat claims in the amount of $1,679.59. EFT in amount of $200,000. Fund 2504 Boyd Development, $0. For a total claims amount of $201,679.59. Is there a motion? Councilman Dabney.
Let's move. I support.
We have a motion to approve by Councilman Dabney and seconded by Councilman Paul Prespolinski. Ms. Nyla, the vote, please.
Ms. Deitch,
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Dr. Cora,
Aye.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
And Mr. Matt.
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you, Ms. Nyla. Reports from boards and commissions. Councilman Dabney, Councilman Cora. No, your light's on, sorry.
Hi, Tommy Klavic, 1316 Ohio Street. I just want to pass along real quick that we will be conducting our interviews with 20 candidates seeking to become new members of the Michigan City Fire Merit Commission. Just about every one of them are all going to be lateral transfers from other municipal fire departments. We had our written examinations and our physical agility tests. Everyone, I wish I could hire all 20 of them on the spot. I just want to say, report that 2 are from the civil city of Michigan City. And one just recently purchased a beautiful home with his new wife. She's actually a Michigan City firefighter. So we potentially could have a husband and wife couple serving on the Michigan City Fire Department in the near future. I know we have 4 from the county. One is from Rolling Prairie, one is from Mill Creek, one is from LaPorte, and others, Rolling Prairie, Mill Creek, and LaPorte. So it's pretty much my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Klavic. Any other reports of boards and commissions?
Nancy Moldenhauer, 107 K Lane, Michigan City, Indiana. I'm here reporting on the Sustainability Commission for Andy Jans Davis, who is the current chair. I wanted to report that I took part in an Indiana University Environmental Resilience Institute today. And this was specifically about premiering Soul Smart designation. And Michigan City did receive silver Soul Smart designation last year. I'm happy to report that we do have commissioners that have started working on a gold designation, and we're hopeful that in 2024 we'll be able to attain that. Also, this coming Thursday is the Northwest Indiana Green Drinks, and that's this Thursday, 6:30 p.m. It's co-sponsored with the Sustainability Commission, Save the Dunes, and also 219 Green Connect. Our topic this time will be a carbon neutral Indiana. And the author of the book, Daniel Pointer, will be presenting at that. We actually have 2 people who reside in Michigan City that are premiered in that book. They were interviewed and their names are there in print. And then 2 other people from Michigan City were also mentioned as contributors to the carbon neutral movement. Our next Sustainability Commission meeting is the second Thursday of the month, which is 2 weeks from Thursday, 4:30 p.m. City Hall, down here in the EOC room, which is right across from the City Council chambers here. And everyone is always welcome to come and attend our meetings. So we hope to see some of you there. Thank you. Any questions?
Councilman Prespolinski.
Ms. Moldenhauer, I got a question for you on this carbon-free Indiana. Is there any information out there that they put out that how that's going to affect the employment of the state, since we are one of the leading manufacturers in the country on manufacturing jobs?
Actually, it increases it if the state would engage in creating new sustainable green jobs.
And is there a chart saying like how much that's going to cost versus, with the calculation on all this green?
I would recommend going to the website that Carbon Neutral Indiana has set up. And there's all kinds of links on that site to national reports and state reports that have studied this. But overall, the understanding is that if the state of Indiana were to engage in green technologies for industry and also regarding infrastructure, that we would be generating more money and more jobs than we are right now.
And that's a report from this Carbon Neutral India?
Lots of links posted on their site.
Okay,
And Paul, I'm very happy to follow up with you after this meeting to send you more information.
no, that's no problem, but I would just want to make a point, you know, this strike with the auto workers is basically about EV production. That is the focal point behind that strike, on losing jobs in all three of those companies. And they're talking about a lot, like 1/3 of their employment in each company. And so when you do that, I mean, I do believe in environmental stewardship, but I think that you have to look at the balance on the cost wise. And I understand what's going on in with this EV network inside the auto industry. And when you're talking about 1/3 the jobs lost in each one of those companies, that's dynamic. So I just want to put that out there, and you know, so we have to have, I believe, in a balance when you're talking about carbon neutral. Thank you.
Yeah, and if I could comment on the strike, it's specifically about safety measures. The battery production that's going on in the Jeep factories, it's not safe. Workers have been hurt. Workers have been harmed. So they're going on strike for that reason, that they want to be sure that the safety measures that are in place in their other manufacturing facilities are also in place at the battery manufacturing facilities. Also, they're trying to down their wages by quite a bit compared to what the factory workers are making in the regular factories. So they're going on strike for those two reasons, for safety, and then to ensure that the workers in these battery plants are not being shortchanged regarding the hourly wage and the benefits that they should be getting.
I just want to make one additional comment. I spent over 50 years in the steel industry, and I do believe I do know with correspondence through the union on what's going on there. And I want to tell you this, is that, you know, one company has already threatened to move out of the country because of this strike. And I'm not going to name any names, but I mean, you know, so I do not believe that in this country, the government should get involved with the free market system. And that's what's going on there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moldenauer.
Thank you very much,
What are any other questions,
Councilman.
Councilman Dabney?
Yeah, no questions, just, this is interesting to hear all these different points of view with the strike and everything like that, and I know a couple of people that live up there in Michigan, and what they tell me, the biggest catching point, money. These guys want pensions back rather than 401ks. And that's what he's told me is the biggest sticking point, is that the workers want their pensions back rather than 401k. So we have a bunch of different things going on. I know the electric vehicles has been tossed around out there, and then you got safety measures, but from what guys I know that work in these plants are telling me, pensions, they want pensions back. And so a lot of different things going on there.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. President. Yeah,
Councilman President.
yeah, I have a daughter that works for General Motors. There's a whole lot of issues about a whole lot of things in the automobile industry and what's going on. So I don't think that we need to discuss all this right here tonight. Let's just move on with the business at hand.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other reports from boards or commissions? or reports from select or special committees. Reports from mayor or other city officers and departments.
Good evening, council. Jeff Bruder, Fire Marshal, Michigan City Fire Department. Not sure if any of you saw it coming in, but on the west side of City Hall, we have our new fire truck. It was delivered last week. We're working to get that in service. Hopefully by the end of the week, we'll have it in service, ready to go. It was a long time coming, couple little delays, nothing major, but it looks good. If anybody wants to take the opportunity to look at it, it'll be right down here by Blue Chip at Station 2, just past Liberty Trail. So you're all welcome to stop by anytime. Take a look at it. It's a really nice piece of equipment. It was much needed, that's for sure. Our ladder truck is still in production. We go up for a final inspection on the 26th, 27th of October, which if everything goes well, we should have, it'll probably be delivered to the dealer probably a week afterwards. And then once the dealer goes over it, they'll bring it over and we should, hopefully that'll be in service no later than Thanksgiving. But that's a little bigger truck. There's a lot more to it. So we'll have to do some more training. Pretty much this pumper that we have, the majority knows how to use it already. So there's not a lot of bells and whistles on it that we need to relearn. We didn't reinvent the wheel on this one. But hopefully by Thanksgiving, we'll have the ladder truck in service. So that's about all we have. I want to bring this up again, and I don't want to beat a dead horse on it, but we have had discussion on another aerial that we had a couple workshops on. I thought we made really good progress. I thought we really got the ball rolling and we were going to spearhead this thing, and it's kind of gone to the wayside. I'd like to see this kicked up again. At least we could try to get a commitment from the council. We're talking 3 years down the road, maybe 4, that the line gets longer and the price just keeps going up. So I'm sitting here and I'm listening to what we have sitting on the side as far as cash flow. We could have it paid for by the day it gets delivered, and that would be huge for the city and be even bigger for the fire department. Solo is going to be right next door. It'll be here right around the same time that gets finished. You're going to have Station Block. That's another huge project. It could be needed. And for those of you that know the history of the T-Rex, I don't have to stand here and talk about that as well, but we know where that vehicle's at. So thought I'd bring it up again. Maybe we can have more discussion. We're always open for discussion, and we'd like to have you guys out. So
Any questions? I got one question. Are you offering any signal chain rides in the new truck?
let's go. Let's go right now.
No, thanks.
No, you sure?
Nah.
All right.
Thanks, chief. Any other city officers? Having none, moving on to petitions,
There are no petitions this evening.
communications.
Correspondence was received in the clerk's office on September 21st from Main Street Association regarding the removal of public seating in the Uptown Art District.
Miss. Could
Councilman
that
President.
be read in its entirety, please?
Do you want to read it?
The clerk? Please.
The recent removal of the public bench that previously were in and around Uptown Art District is unfortunate and regrettable. The directors of Michigan City Main Street Association echo the sentiments of many communities who have already voiced their opposition to the removal of these benches, finding the justification misguided and calculus. We understand that the action was done unilaterally at the behest of Mayor Perry while failing to adhere to common practice utilizing appropriate municipal channels or affording notices to the constituent. The state intention of mayor's action was addressed to perceived problem that people experiencing homeless may pose to this area. Although these people in our community can present certain challenges to the business, removal of their benches does not resolve their perceived problems and only serves to displace these individuals while disappropriating, penalizing citizens, residents, and visitors who might make us these public accommodations. Apart from utility of these public assets, their absent makes the UAD appear unwelcoming and unsightly. The Main Street Association have over the years advocated for additions to the UAD to improve the function and lend the unique, growing, and rich aesthetic. The empty spaces that now rest with the benches once sat distraught from the beauty of the UAD while highlighting the regrettable intentions that brought about the removal of the benches. Main Street would like to reiterate the position against removing these benches as the act of humane and discourages residents and visitors from using and enjoying a vibrant commercial and residential district. It is the fervent hope of Main Street that Mayor Perry will reconsider, or the Michigan City Council will be affirmative to step the redness this wrong while acknowledging homelessness as a social problem that is certainly not caused by presence of public seating amenities. Main Street implores Mayor Perry and our local officials to reinstall all the benches removed in and around the UAD immediately and to extend apologies to the people of Michigan City, including especially those currently experiencing homelessness. Sincerely, Michigan City Main Street Association Board of Directors.
Thank you, Ms. Nyla. Before we move on to our resolutions and ordinances, I just wanted to make a statement. So there was some information that was on the city website, and it was not put out by the council, and it had some information that's inaccurate regarding our processes. And I just want to state for the record that our published agenda is what we follow, and this is what we follow unless there's a desire by the council to do anything different at this time when we're here publicly. So there was a request from a resident to move public comment to the beginning of the meeting instead of the end. Is there any desire to suspend the rules? Okay. Moving on, Ms. Blandel, could you read our first resolution?
Resolution by title only, authorizing the use of excess appropriated funds to replace the overhead doors on the golf cart storage barn for the Michigan City Park Department. And this is introduced by Mr. Dabney.
Any comments from the sponsor?
Yeah, real quick to explain, the golf cart storage barn was, the shingles were repaired, and then the price came in way under what was originally thought it would be, so it left the balance of $21,000 left over. So what they want to do is reappropriate those funds to repair the garage doors on some of the buildings out there. And there was a email explaining what happened with the differences, and there were pictures of the barns, which we have tonight sitting in front of us. So they just want to reappropriate that $21,000 to replace the garage doors that really need it, and they're in bad shape. That's where this is going.
Thank you, Councilman. Any comments from the public? Any comments from the council?
Mr. President, I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor. And I also have a couple comments, if I may. According to Superintendent Shin, I guess some of these one of the doors was ran into by golf carts, right? If you would, Mr. Shin, can you come up and explain and tell the story you told me about these doors and how they were damaged and the length of time that they've been out of service?
Good evening, Ed Shin, Park Superintendent. Yes, Mr. Prisbalinski, one of the doors at the far end of the cart storage building had been impacted by a golf cart. And our remedy for this will be to add baluards and a sufficient barricade. So in the future, the new doors won't be impacted.
How long ago was it that door was hit And it's
That
been
door
out of
was-
service.
Probably hit 3 years ago or more because it was damaged when I found it damaged. Looking at the cart barn re-roofing project.
So how come it took 3 years to get a roll-up door brought to the council? to get
I
it
can't
fixed?
answer that because it was not reported to me until I noticed it.
Okay. There's an answer to that. Don't they report damages to the supervisors that take place or nobody? Let me just explain. Nobody walks around and looks at the grounds to see if things are damaged and then they report them back to the golf superintendent or whatever their titles are and report it back to the park superintendent.
Correct.
So then they can get into and put corrective actions into place and then to get this stuff fixed.
Correct. That's standard procedure for all departments. As of now, we have a new staff and that would be the procedure now, but in the past, apparently it wasn't passed on to me.
Okay, I'm just saying, you've been the superintendent there for 3 years. I would think that somebody would have seen it by now, but okay, let's move on. Okay,
Any other comments from the council? Thank you, Superintendent Shin. Councilwoman Deitch,
Move for adoption.
support. We have a motion to approve by Councilwoman Deitch
Oh, because he wanted to speak.
on the golf cart, this resolution.
Scott Mellon, 200 Kenwood. Is it cosmetic damage or is the door non-functional? Has it been broken where it doesn't work the last 3 years or is it just dented?
We haven't done it yet.
the comments over,
I call it.
Sean. You guys just can't jump up and talk.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
There's a motion, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
It was already done.
May I answer?
Sure.
To answer this gentleman's question, they are beyond repair, they're in disrepair, and they will need to be changed or we will have security problems and mechanical problems. According to our professional mechanic, who might have shown up tonight, Michael Moore? No, but according to our professional mechanic and what I have reviewed, these doors are in disrepair and need to be changed.
Thank you, Mr. Shin. We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Deitch and second by Councilman Devon. Ms. Nyla, on the vote, please.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Dr. Cora,
Aye.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Mr. Mack.
Aye.
And Ms. Deitch.
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
Okay, and just so we are keeping in order, the order of speaking will be, the ordinance will be read by the clerk by title only. The author will be able to make comments in regards to the ordinance. The public will be allowed to speak on that specific ordinance, and then the council will be allowed to speak on that specific ordinance, and then we'll be moving on. So, Ms. Nyla, could you please read our first ordinance on first reading by title only?
An ordinance on first reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the aviation fuel for the purchase of aviation fuel due to the drastic increase in fuel prices. And this is introduced by Mr. Simmons.
Any comments from the sponsor?
Yes, there simply wasn't enough appropriation in the budget for the finish the year at the airport. Mrs. Jessica Ward is here to articulate if there's any questions from the council.
Thank you, Councilman. Any comments from the public?
Scott Mellon, 200 Kenwood Place. Do we sell this fuel or is this for the use of us? Do we have any aviation or is this sold at the airport?
It's sold at the airport, sir.
Okay. This question, thank you.
It's revenues that are generated at the airport.
Any other comments from the public? Comments from the council? Their motion. Oh,
It's
first
first
reading.
reading.
The comments will be held over to second reading. Ms. Nyla, could you please read our next ordinance on first reading?
An ordinance on first reading by title only, creating Article 10 and Chapter 22 of the Michigan City Municipal Code, and also creating Section 50-151, Section 50-152, and Section 2-412 to be known as the Residential Rental Registration Program. And this is introduced by Mr. Dabney.
Any comments from the sponsor?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about this. This started as a this trying to identify properties and, rental properties and so forth, and doing a bunch of things, which has eventually been worked down to a rental registration program. And so what I want to do is actually table it, because I think we need to clear the air of what it used to be. Let a lot of people read this thing, and then I will bring it back up. Because there's been a lot of confusion over, all of the time that we've been doing this, and there's been a lot of changes to it. I think it's in good working order now, but I want to table for right now until the next meeting, so I can possibly have a workshop to just talk about this rental registration, because there are things that I want to add into it as well. So I want to table this until the next meeting, because I want to clear the air and get all of the facts out there and get it moving in the next meeting.
All right, we have
I'll
a
make a
motion
motion
to
to
table by Councilman Dabney
Second.
and seconded by Councilman Mack. Ms. Nyla, on the vote, please.
Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Mr. Cora.
Aye.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Mr. Mack.
Aye.
And Ms. Deitch.
Aye.
And Mr. Don Prespolinski.
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
And again, was this table to the next meeting?
Yeah,
next
okay.
meeting.
Thank you, Councilman. Ms. Nyla, can you please read our next ordinance on first reading?
An ordinance on first reading by title only, amending section 2-344 in the Michigan City Municipal Code to authorize advance payments on the contracts to the public work project, goods and services pursuant to IC Code 5-11-10-1 and 6. And this is also introduced by Mr. Dabney.
Any comments from the sponsor?
Yep, talking about, this is something that was passed by the state of Indiana. That's trickled down, and we need to pass these in the municipalities as well. And this is going to give a chance for small contractors, when they win bids and things of that sort, will enable us to be able to purchase, the purchasing body to be able to purchase materials, goods and services up to 50% of the total contract in advance. So it gives the small contractors a chance to get started, and they have money flow coming in where they don't have to wait until the actual project is completed in order to get paid. So this is something that I see that would help out the smaller contractors where they don't have to wait around to start getting money for the project, and they can start to move forward. So that's what this is all about.
Thank you, Councilman. Any comments from the public? Any comments from the council?
Yeah, Mr. President, I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other comments from the council? All right, this will be held over for second reading. Ms. Nyla, can you please read our first ordinance on second reading by title only?
An ordinance on second reading by title only, an ordinance amending section 2457 B2B in chapter 2, article 7 of the Michigan City Municipal Code to amend appointment time to members to the city commission of the social status of African American males. And this is introduced by Ms. Deitch.
Any comments from the sponsor?
Yeah, as stated before, this is just removing the ministerial association who has not appointed anybody in
This year.
a whole, yeah, it's been about a year. But also giving these appointments 2-year timeframes on alternating schedules. So it's just another at-large member replacing the ministerial association and making all of these appointments 2 years.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any comments from the public?
Hello, everyone. Rodney McCormick, President of Michigan City Social Status. I'm all for making this a 2-year for all the members. That's something that should have been done a long time ago. I know Ms. Deitch's attentions as well, but as the president of the board, on behalf of all of us on the board, we would like to be added into changes to the ordinance when it's about our board that we set on and we serve the time on. We only get $50 to sit on that board. A lot of us are taking it serious. We're doing a good job, but there's other issues that we would like to bring up at the same time. So I hope that you will consider maybe doing a workshop with us, because there's other issues that we would like to address, and maybe we can get that all added into this together. To leave this LaPorte County Council off of this, first of all, let me go back a couple of years ago. The LaPorte, our social status added residents from outside of the county. They can sit on our board. So I think that the county should have a say on who appoints to have an appointment on that board. We know that the county council is never going to go nowhere. So we don't have to worry about them ever not appointing someone. This has been a big issue through years, not just one. It's been big issues throughout the years, and not just with the socials, not just with the pastors as well, because we have several pastors on our board. We just want to make sure that everybody is represented on our board, and to exclude the county is totally wrong. It's only one appointment. The council has one, the mayor has his. All we just asking for is to allow the county to be able to add a resident to this board. This will help us out a lot. And if you don't mind, Ms. Deitch, please, can we just do a workshop together? It won't take that long. We have other issues as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCormick.
Hi, Tommy Klavick, 1316 Ohio Street. We went through this a couple years ago. All these seats need to be countywide. They shouldn't be just restricted to Civil City residents. It is stated in section 2-457, subsection B, all appointments must be bona fide county residents. All members shall continue to serve there until their successor is appointed. I know there's also in the ordinance that they're allowed to go out and solicit donations. I know they got a $4,000 appropriation from LaPorte County Council. We could take we took 15 young people and 5 chaperones on a field trip to the DuSable Museum of Black History, in Chicago. I accompanied them. I paid my own way. I felt compelled that I had to go with them to guide them along to, take them throughout the city and whatnot. I don't even think we can spend $1,000 there. There's a lot more I'd like to. I know they got a Motown Christmas show coming up at the Acorn Performing Arts Center in Trios. We can all go up there caravan style. They got a Temptations at the Blue Gate and Theater in Shipshewana. We could go over there and see that. I think we got a lot more things we can go out and do with them. I like to do things more fun and entertaining. I know the trip to the DuSable was very educational for them, but I'd like to do some more things that are fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Klavick. Any other comments from the public?
Wayne Perry, Michigan City Mayor. I agree wholeheartedly with Mr. McCormick that this should be that residents of the county should be included. We're not talking about Wanata or Union Mills. We're talking about residents of Cool Spring and Springfield Township that live just outside the city's limits, whose children attend Michigan City area schools, who are totally affected by life and business in Michigan City. So this should continue to consider residents of the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Perry. Any other comments from the public? Comments from the council? Councilwoman Deitch.
Again, this has been brought up multiple council meetings that we will resolve this. So I'm not sure. As far as the county resident, I'm okay with adding Cool Spring Township, Potawatomi, Long Beach. I have no problem with that. But all those other seats, again, they can be anywhere in the county. So we're not restricting them. All it's doing is providing 2 at-large members of Michigan City to the board. That's it. And they live in the county. So it doesn't create any chaos. And I understand that they gave money, but if that's what we're doing, is if they pay and we give them a seat, I mean, I want to get a multi-year commitment, I guess. I don't know. But all I'm saying is it was to fix a problem that has been complained about for the last year. And that's what the ordinance, but if there's a will to make the amendment, you can bring it up at the next council meeting. I have no problem with that. And if it's gonna be exclusive, and we're saying that the mayor is saying it's only Cool Spring in certain areas, I'm okay with that too. Doesn't matter to me.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other comments from the council? I had one comment or maybe a question, and it was along the same lines. I don't think there are any restrictions in the current language that stops any appointment from being somebody in the county. Technically, we're all residents of LaPorte County. I guess the language needs to reflect something that says residents outside of Civil City. If that's what the desire is, maybe we could look at it that way and say this many residents that reside outside of Michigan City, but also reside in LaPorte County to make it clear. Maybe that's what.
I think they want the appointing authority to be the county council.
Right, I got that part,
Yeah.
and I get that, but they could appoint somebody from Michigan City.
Yeah.
So. Okay, this will be held over for third reading. Ms. Nyla, can you please read our first ordinance on third reading by title only?
An ordinance on third reading by title only, creating section 22-70 and section 50-151 in the Michigan City Municipal Code to require a solid waste disposal plan for each application to the Michigan City Planning and Inspection Department for a building, electrical, HVAC, and or plumbing permit, and creating section 22-82C in the Michigan City Municipal Code to require that the building site be cleaned and all construction debris be removed before a certificate of occupancy is issued. And this is introduced by Mr. Don Prespolinski, Ms. Deitch, Mr. Dabney, and Mr. Simmons.
Thank you, Ms. Nyla. Any comments from the sponsors?
I do have a question for the inspection department. If Sue can come down and Skylar can come down. Pardon? Yeah.
Good afternoon, Council. Skylar York, Director of Planning and Redevelopment, and
You down, inspection department.
Okay, Skylar, my question. So say I come in, I'm doing replacing some cabinets in my kitchen. All right. Well, first of all, do I need a permit for that? Do you need a permit to do that?
Yes.
Okay. So then you're gonna ask me, what are you gonna do with these cabinets? And I say, I'm gonna set them out. I got, let's just say 3 or 4 standard size kitchen cabinets. And I'm gonna say, well, I'm gonna set them out by I'll set them out by the street. And see if somebody's gonna pick them up. Or I'll put one in my garbage can every week. Let the garbage refuse department take them away. Is that legal?
yeah, we haven't quantified what it is. It's construction debris though, so, yeah.
I mean, oh, this still.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah, well, I'm just,
Well,
I'm just,
you
Sorry, I
got-
didn't know if I spoke out of turn. I probably spoke.
No. It's still comments from the sponsor. I guess there'll be some more comments from the council, maybe.
yeah, but anyway, so I'm just trying to get an idea of what qualifies, under this. And what, if I can just put it in the garbage and you guys are gonna say, yeah, you got 3 kitchen cabinets, put them in your garbage can, that's okay. Or you have 4 kitchen cabinets and you have to get a 2-yard dumpster box and put it outside your house. What I'm looking for is, I guess, more clarity, or is the clarity going to be given to the resident when they come and get a permit to do that work? You guys are going to say, you're going to have to do this, this, and this, and this. You're going to have to get a 10-yard roll off. You're going to have to get a 5-yard roll off.
I don't know that we, as the permit department, that it matters how much. It's about getting rid of it so that it's not sitting in our right of ways or on our sidewalks. But we don't want it to go to just say, it's up to we call it the sanitary district, they're coming in, or the refuse department, they're coming to get it, because then we're just creating another list. From a standpoint of a permitting, you know that you're going to do this work. Therefore, you're coming to get a permit. So you've been planning to do the work. Now you've got to figure out how you're going to get rid of it as well. And that's
Right.
kind of where we're at with respect to the permit.
Well, I understand it.
How are they
but
gonna,
it-
how are they gonna take it? Can you put it in a trash can? I think that's where we have to rely on refuse to say, yeah, if it's in a trash can in a tote, we'll take it.
So Sue will say, that's okay. Yeah, put it in a trash can and you can take it. Okay, I just want to make sure that there's some clarity.
This,
And I don't know what the direction has been given yet from the refuse department to the inspection department, or if this is the first time it's really been discussed. But I'm just trying to get some clarity in my mind before I say, yeah, I'm gonna pass this, or I'm gonna stand behind this, to, what people can expect when they come down to get a permit. Now, I understand if you're doing a bathroom, or if you're doing a kitchen or that, you gotta have a lot of debris, and you might as well plan on getting a little, dumpster or what have you, get rid of it. I understand all that. But I'm just looking at a little weekend project that I'm gonna be doing this and this, and maybe gotta get rid of a couple exhaust fans. And gotta get rid of a vent, a hood over a stove. And I say, Sue, I'm gonna put it in I'm gonna take it to the recycle box because it's metal down by the the street department. And you'll say that's okay.
The problem has not been the items that will fit in a container. Sorry, the problem has not been the items that will fit in a container. The problem is the items that won't fit in the container. And that's what we're trying to alleviate.
Like couches and mattresses.
Okay, well, I understand all that. I'm
Or
looking
the
at
whole
but
interior of the
couches and
house.
mattresses don't come up with building permits.
If I may, Mike Milosevic, General Manager of the Sanitary District. Exactly, to reiterate, if you could put it in the toter, we'll take it away. What we're concerned with is the large amount of material that's out in the streets or on property, whether it's some of it oftentimes even on the sidewalk and right of ways and so forth, that I'm here to advocate for action from the council on this ordinance. I've communicated or checked into some of the other communities in our surroundings and in the state of Indiana, and this type of policy has been very effective, or has proven to be effective when we've implemented it, so that it's a proactive measure. And I believe that the Department of Code Enforcement and so forth, I don't want to speak for them, but they would be in the best position to determine what exactly is needed, and that would have to be spelled out in the disposal plan, as I understand. So that would help us immensely, because I'm sure that everyone has noticed the amount of material that we see out in front of properties. And that's what our main concern is. It's not what can fit into the toter. Somebody's doing a home project. If they need to get a permit to do that, that's out of our jurisdiction. But what we're concerned about is material that's being placed outside of the toter. We're just to make a mention of the fact that we're also working to improve our efficiency by incorporating the use of automated equipment that has an arm that pulls up to the toter and picks it up, disposes the contents into the body of the truck, and then moves on. That would
that would free up some of our staff to do other work that would help us to keep the city clean. As it is, if the material is not in a toter, then the driver has to get out and try to put it in the toter. It clearly is in contradiction to the whole scheme of efficiency. So what we're striving to do is to get material into the toter so that we can be efficient in our work. So anyway, that
Okay.
if it's something that goes in a toter, somebody's doing a small job, small project with their house, we don't have an issue with that. As long as it's not hazardous material or something like that, that's fine. We're not here to penalize anyone or to exact punitive charges for any particular reason. It's just to help us to do our job.
Okay, since you're at the microphone, Mr. Miladovich, I know that the mayor talked about this back in June or mid-July. And that you said that you were going to be putting a schedule together on charges for pickups. And I don't know if that falls under this ordinance or the next ordinance, but I just want to know where we stand with that schedule and who's putting it together.
I am involved in that, and also our operations manager. We have a procedure in place presently, but it really doesn't cover our true expenses. So we're interested in amending the current procedure, but we also don't want to make changes that may not be consistent with the council's wishes. And so at this point, we're waiting to see what position the council is going to take on these two ordinances. We have already worked up some costs. What I'm referring to is if we have to go out and use a payloader and a dump truck and personnel, that's going to cost a lot more than $100, which is the deposit that we currently take. So we need to have fees in place that will realistically provide the or cover our expenses. Basically what we're looking to do. We're obviously not here to make profit, but we do have to have a plan of equipment replacement. As you know, we have some trucks that were out of way past their service life and so forth. Anyway, and the council, thank you very much, did appropriate some money from the ARPA funds to help us acquire some equipment. And we like to step up the whole program and have new equipment that can operate efficiently and safely.
Okay, well, I was hoping to see some type of numbers or some type of charging schedule of what the citizens of Michigan City are going to be charged, but without that being presented to the council, and we were supposed to back in July. I mean, it's October already. Until I see that, I'm making a motion here right now that we table this ordinance until we get that information, and then we'll move forward with this. Support.
We have a motion.
Okay, we have a motion to table by Councilman Don Prespolinski and seconded by Councilman.
Can we
Paul
clarify the
Prespolinski.
motion on till we get the fee structure in place and then we'll rehear this?
Yes.
Is that correct?
That's
I
the
go along.
motion.
I second that.
We have a motion by Councilman Don Prespolinski and seconded by Councilman Paul Prespolinski. Ms. Nyla, upon the vote, please.
We got the next.
Yeah, we got the motion at the table, so we'll,
There's a motion to table. You can't
we
comment.
gotta take the vote.
Right.
Okay, ready?
Yes, Mr. Nyla.
Mr. Cora,
Excuse me, Mr. President, you didn't end public comment.
We never started it.
Or
Yeah, but there's a motion made.
The sponsor moved to
Yeah, we
table.
never got to public.
Yeah, we
comment.
never made it.
All discussion stops after a motion is made to table.
And it was made by the sponsor, so.
Right.
Hey.
On page 2.
Ms. Nyla on the vote, please.
Mr. Cora,
Aye.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Nay.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Mr. Mack,
Nay.
Ms. Deitch,
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Aye.
and Mr. Simmons.
Aye.
We have 7 in favor and 2 opposed. It's tabled.
Okay, the motion will be. Okay, so Ms. Nyla, can you please read our next ordinance on third reading?
Okay, an ordinance on third reading by title only, amending section 58-60 of chapter 58 of the Michigan State Municipal Code and amending various sections within chapter 98 of the Michigan City Municipal Code pertaining to garbage, trash, and rubbish. And this is introduced by Mr. Don Prespolinski, Ms. Deitch, Mr. Dabney, Mr. Simmons, and Mr. Paul Prespolinski.
Any comments from the sponsor?
Yes.
Councilwoman Deitch.
So this one is related to that one, so we still could do public comment on this one before we table it. But again, this started back in the spring when we asked about fees because we hadn't written any citations. We were having multiple pickups, and then we had a list of about 80 plus pickups, just garbage all over the city. And we do a spring cleanup, we do a fall cleanup, and then we will go and just pick up pick up around the city with no charges. And so this is just to put some language around it, but I would think that we would receive the fee schedule. So I would love to hear the comments from the public on this, because there's several piles of trash that we keep reporting that takes multiple weeks for them to get to it, number one. And if we're trying to cover their cost, we don't have a capital plan to pay for trucks. And this is revenue that we're missing out on to replace the trucks. So now every time we turn around, it's just one of those emergency situations where we have to replace a truck with money when they could have been taking in money for pickups, taking in money for citations, and but we have to educate the public on what those citations are. So I would love to see that fee schedule, but I would also like to hear from the public on this one as well before we table it. So after public comment, maybe we table it then.
Councilman Dabney.
Yeah, I understand we may table this one as well. But I was sitting in when we had the workshop over in the EOC room. I was sitting next to the attorney, and I asked the same thing to her. I said, well, this one doesn't show a fee structure. She said, because it's already out there. And she did not include it and put it in here because that fee structure is already out there. In the previous one that we just tabled, the fee structure is on page 2. So I don't know. You guys are going to do what you want to do with it, but I just wanted to point that out before we took any motion on it.
Well,
Councilwoman Deitch.
the fee structure is for violations, not for pickups. And we were looking for the pickup fee structure, not the violations. So we're asking for Mr. Miladovich, if he could provide the fee structure for, going, because they said they don't have anything to cover the cost for them going to do those pickups. These are violations. We want the fee structure. What are you going to do for pickups? Are we charging? Are we charging by the load? Are we charging by what's included? If it's 5 couches, whatever that is, I think that's what we're looking for. At least that's what I was looking for. It wasn't the violations. It was the actual fee structure for pickups.
Because I mean, I'm sorry, I just thought we were trying to get out of business of having to pick up. I thought we were trying to get people to get dumpsters and do their own and everything like that. And the fees and the fines would put them into doing that.
I think the ultimate goal is to stop people from leaving debris on the curb.
I got that.
And it just not get picked up at all.
So
The fines don't mean,
look forward to
that
the
much.
next workshop.
May I comment?
we'll move on to public comment, then during council comment, you could comment. Any other comments from the sponsors? Comments from the public?
Rodney McCormick, 617 Union Street. We had a house on Emily Street. It was notorious. They came in, remodeled the home. The sanitation department came, I believe, 3 times. As Christina came out, it's like week after week after week. First it was a toilet, then it was the whole kitchen, then it was the living room. It kept messing up the alleyway. We kept raking it up, cleaning it up. It's a nightmare. We was on the 800 block of East 11th Street, me and Don Prespolinski. There was a problem over there, a serious problem with debris and other issues with one of our properties at the Housing Authority. But I happened to walk down the alleyway and I called Don. Don went over, all of us went over and looked at it. And I believe one of the building inspectors, I think Christina was with us. And this is on Maple and Main. These people took a porch deck apart. I guarantee it's about 500 pounds of wood that's sitting there. They stuffed as much wood as they could in the tote. Nails, just they stuffed as much as they could. I don't even know how our city workers or why they should break their back for homeowners that's making improvements to their homes. I was under the impression that once you pull a permit, then we know what kind of work you're doing. You should be responsible for removing your debris. We already have 2 times we come out and pick up garbage, trash, and we haul it away. But it's getting carried away now. And sadly, I just want to just comment briefly on this. At some point, the city council, sanitation, refuge, I don't know why refuge and sanitation are the same in the same place, but we need to start communicating. Some of these vehicles that we're purchasing, Central Service can't even work on. So some of these vehicles go out and they disappear for maybe 6 months to a year. And then they come back and say, oh, it's unfixable, or it's $250,000 to repair. These are the problems that's been going on for quite a while now. City council, everybody, we all know the problems. Lack of communication, administration after administration. I'm tired of the pointing fingers at each other. Here lately, I work with a lot of people. We get a lot of stuff done by just talking to each other. For once, we need to start talking to each other about the purchasing of vehicles, permits, and the garbage. It'd be wrong for this city council not to ignore the city workers at this time. There's no way I would pull a tote that has over 200 pounds of wood in it. Don seen it, I seen it. It was ridiculous. This should not be happening in this city. Not with the manpower that we have. And sadly, our city workers are underpaid. That's another subject for another time. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Mr. McCormick.
Yeah, Tommy Klovic, 1316 Ohio Street. I think the first thing we need to do, we're gonna be charging fees and for imposing fines. First thing you gotta do is give a raise to all the city workers, all the refuse workers and sanitary district workers. They're the backbone of this to me. I can't tell you how we got the best municipal workers you'll find anywhere. I'm not a landlord or I'm a buyer and a seller. Every time they've been Johnny on the spot for me, every time I put something out, a lot of times it's not a landlord just clearing out a house. There's times where we have to clean out the home of a family member, a loved one that died. That was my case when my sister died. She died 3 days after Christmas in 2018. As she got leukemia and battled for 3 I had to haul off her deathbed. I put it out there. The scrappers came, picked up the metal rails, but they hauled off the box spring. I took the headboard and I cut it up with my chainsaw and put it in the toter. But I want to say that the thing, we do have resources that they can, instead of just putting out to the curb. We have a really good dumpster company. They're Hunt's Roll-Off. You can call them and get a dumpster. They'll come out, they'll load it up, they'll haul it off. I want to say we also have professional companies now that do this. Bob Wolchek, he's the plant manager of Hearthside Foods. He started the junk luggers. Ben Conowitz in LaPorte, he has Chuck It Junk. And the fire dogs are based out of Crown Point. They service all of Northwest Indiana. You can haul to the Kingsbury Industrial Park landfill. It's waste management landfill. You go haul it off there, you pay a tipping fee or hire somebody to haul it off. That's my suggestion, and thank you very much. Another thing, we need to regulate the scrappers. I know some cities, they ban it altogether. The scrap prices are back up. They're paying $125 a ton. They come up and down my alley maybe 10 times a day. Some of their vehicles are unplated. The trailers are unplated. They don't have lights on their truck. A lot of times their pickup trucks are unloaded. It's not they're driving vehicles that shouldn't be on the road. I think we need just maybe have them pay, they're collecting all this money tax-free, what they're getting. I just think we need some regulation on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Klavick.
Ernie Hallahan, 302 Gladys Street. Pertaining to this one and one up above. What you're creating is people's gonna start taking stuff and dumping it on the county roads. They're already doing it. Tryon Road has a big pile about halfway down to Neiman School, right on the right-hand side. There's no houses there. The house is on the left side. I know Bob Story used to live in one. I don't know if he's still there or not. An ex-policeman, but there's a pile there. And over by the golf course, somebody dumped a big frame screen TV frame over there by the golf course. And it sat there for months until somebody finally took it, and picked it up. I picked up a bag of garbage in the middle of Cleveland Road. Just past where you turn to go to Myers. It was right in the middle of the road. So I picked it up and put it in the back of my truck and took and put it in my dumpster at home. But this is what you're gonna get. People are gonna start doing this more and more. I've had a lot. I've got a big partial pile down my alley that's been there for probably 6 months. It's different things, wood and debris, and it's just been laying there. And it hasn't been picked up. I've had one.
Did you call for the city?
I've had one. 3 times they've come out. Pardon?
Did you call that in?
Not yet. Not yet. I just seen it again today, so I will call it in. But it shouldn't be up to me to call it in. When our refuse guys fix our garbage up, they should see that and notify their boss that this is there.
I understand that, but, and I'm of the opinion that if you see it, call it in.
Yeah.
And I know city workers ride right by debris and keep going. That's why I say if you see it, call it
I'm
in,
just saying,
do something
it's gonna
to
be more and more
eliminate it.
going out to the country and dumping their garbage. There's certain areas charged for pick up their garbage and they haul it off. Out at Fish and Game, I was out there the other day, a guy in a black pickup come up. And he had a 5-gallon bucket and a black bag full. I don't know, it had drywall and all kinds of stuff, and he threw it in the dumpster there. So this is gonna, with this going, this is gonna get worse instead of better.
Thank you, Mr. Hallahan.
Scott Mellon, 200 Kenwood Place. We have 3 ordinances here that all relate to 3 proposed ordinances that all relate to garbage in one way or another. I'd first like to thank our sanitation department. They do a fantastic job. I think Michigan City is great offering special pickups, the spring cleanup and the fall cleanup. Those are great. I think even though you tabled it, my idea for the building permits is simple. Let's not have another permit. Just add language to the existing permits that you're responsible for cleanup and you won't get a final approval. We have existing laws. We can just change some language. The last thing the inspection department needs is another thing. Do we want to be obstructionist or do we want to be facilitators for the improvement of the city? So the one we're talking about here, having a schedule for special pickup is the way to go, in my opinion. But we're not going to pay, we're already paying the labor. These men are already paid for their 40 hours or what have you. We certainly need to cover the cost of disposal. And for that, it should be reasonable and competitive. We can then be a service for people who are improving their homes and therefore improving the tax base and tax revenue of the city. So it's a pretty simple schedule, you know. It shouldn't be egregious or you will end up with a lot of dumping. You know, it should be based on cubic yards or poundage, you know, $50, $100, $200. Dumpsters, a 10-yard dumpster starts at over $350 right now. Our problem isn't with large jobs. People do get private waste haulers to deal with that. It is mostly homeowners and small investors, small landlords doing updating. So we can facilitate and raise revenue for the sanitation department and be a tool to help with a reasonable fee schedule. But we're not going to pay the capitalized cost of the machinery and the hourly wage. That's already part of the city budget. The tipping fee should be pretty much covered or at least subsidized, even if it's not 100% covered. It's now something we're offering the citizens of the city as opposed to another hindrance. And we have a very old housing stock in this city. There are whole sections of the city that were built over 100 years ago. This ties into rental housing conditions and so forth. Again, we want to encourage updating and rehab, in my opinion. It does help the housing stock. It reduces other problems and increases tax revenue. So let's facilitate this. Let's continue to offer our spring pickup, bulk pickup, our fall pickup. But in between, maybe those calls for special pickup aren't free. If you need, what do they call appliances? White box or something? Appliances and mattresses, which are not construction debris. You know, maybe that is a $25 to $50 hit. That's still much easier than a widower or some senior person having to go to Kingsbury. How many of you have taken trash to Kingsbury? My contractor has, but I sure have never. So anyway, let's not be punitive. Let's not complicate things too much, but let's try to facilitate and subsidize the cost to raise money for the sanitation department in a reasonable amount. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public?
Wayne Perry, Mayor, Michigan City. What we have here is a situation that's enormous. Starting with the double track, it's grown from a speck of dust to a biblical dust storm. Michigan City has always been very generous. We've had spring and fall cleanup where we didn't charge for darn near anything that was put on the street. But with the excitement and the speculation that's going on with this double track project, we're getting so much activity in town, dumping things along the side of the street. And our budget is not built for cleanup 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year. It's built for spring and fall cleanup. I felt before, as I do now, that anything and everything needs to be regulated and controlled. If it's not controlled, it'll get out of control, which is what we have here. We're not going to solve this by pointing fingers. We're going to solve it by working together. We've got a real issue on our hands. But the basic element, as I see it, and I've made it a point to regularly, when I've overheard conversations in City Hall between our code compliance group and contractors, I have listened in. Our code compliance group has been very cooperative. They're very listening, and they're a professional bunch. But they have their limits. It all boils down to the base element, which is the work permit. If the public comes in and gets a work permit, the contractor, anybody that's gonna leave waste at the curb comes in, that work permit details what they're doing. then they can get clarification from code compliance as far as what they can put at the curb and to what extent we expect them to clean it up. The fines are for the people that don't go by the rules. But the work permit is an integral part of this that needs to be the basis and needs to be informed. As both of the Prisbalinski members of the council know, because they've both been red tagged for starting work without a work permit. It's the base element of the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Perry. Any other comments from the public?
I'm gonna make a comment. Yeah, let's go.
Is it appropriate for me to comment at
Sure.
this time?
You may be back when council comment comes, so it's up to you.
Mike Milakis, General Manager, Sanitary District. Forgive my ignorance, but I don't understand why not having a fee structure should prevent the council from acting on this ordinance, amending 5860. I've read through this, and all we're looking for here is language that will more clearly explain to anyone that's reading it as to what is acceptable, what is not. The fee structure and scheme of assessing fees for collecting a major dump of material by a house, let's say if someone's being evicted or something of the sorts, or perhaps, as it was suggested by the gentleman previously, about individual items that a person may be replacing a washing machine or dryer or whatever, that we can and will present information or a fee structure for that. And that, as I understand it, would have to be approved by the council anyway. But I honestly do not see how that impacts this proposed amendment to the ordinance 5860 and chapter 98. So anyway, respectfully, I would implore you to reconsider acting on at least this one. And if the other one can't be passed without the specific schedule of fees, we'll provide that to the council for consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Malavich. Any other comments from the public? Any other comments from the public? Comments from the council? Councilwoman Deitch.
I agree with Superintendent Milanovich. So the previous one that we have has all the money things in it, and the actual violations, and I do believe it belongs in that one, the schedule. And as he said, so this one doesn't have anything in there. It just really talks about the materials and accumulation and all of that. It has nothing to do with the fees or anything in this one, as we see it. But I guess one of the comments, it talked about permits. I can throw away, I wouldn't pull a permit to remove my washing machine. So I'm not sure how that would, you don't get permits for everything that you dispose of at the curb. So again, are we saying that we're going to require that now, that anything that goes on the curb is going to receive a permit? I thought we're trying to streamline. No, I understand we're streamlining. We want to streamline things, but it's saying we're going to capture everything through the permit process, and we won't. People still can put washing machines, couches. That doesn't mean they're demolishing anything and put it on the curb. So that doesn't fix the permitting piece. Does not fix the situation, is all I wanted to say. But again, this one doesn't have anything to do with the finance piece of it. So
thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Paul Prisbalinski.
Thank you, Council President Fitzpatrick. I would like to say that, as always, the mayor is putting out false information and always wanting to emphasize whatever it is about the Prisbalinskis. But I will say, and he always makes it personal, but the truth of the matter is this. I did not get red tagged. I had a general contractor doing the work at my house. It had nothing to do with me. And that the general contractor explained the situation to me and said that he had a discussion with the building department and that there was a misunderstanding on what was going on and what the permit had to be pulled. My name was not on any permit. I was not involved with that at all. So as always, there's misinformation being put out by the administration. That's what we've been dealing with for 3 years on this knee-jerk operation. It's always a knee-jerk on reaction to something going on. But I will not tolerate anybody saying something indirect, directed towards me that is untrue. And that is totally untrue. And I had, that's what we're trying to, now we're trying to camouflage this whole issue. And the real issue is this. There's a lot that needs to be discussed in this code, but the real example is this. With these two ordinances, a miscommunication and interpretation by the building department, inspection department to the general contractor. Now at a public meeting, the mayor wants to attack me without getting all the facts straight. That is what's deplorable. That is truly deplorable. So I do want to speak to this ordinance that I had a conversation today at City Hall and about these ordinances, and I was looking for additional language that just talked about rental properties. And that has not been done yet because the corporate attorney has not had time to get into that. So we're moving forward on it. And that's why I think that it's should be tabled, because there needs to be more language in it, specific language on telling people what they should do in inspection and the sanitary district with rubbish. So also what I wanted to do tonight for informational purposes, at our workshop that we had, we looked at the budget for the sanitary district, and there is in the budget, and this was at August 28th, they had already spent or documented $309,000 on utility landfill charges. Now, I don't know if that's just for refuge or if it's for the cake that they do at the sanitary district. That wasn't clarified. So they're projected on spending this year like $615,000. And I guess that's a combined problem with pickups and what they do or get rid of at the sanitary district for when they are cleaning and processing our things that we don't want to really discuss. But anyway, it is a big problem, and I don't think we went far enough in these ordinances. And I think that a fee structure, needs to be in place. I also think that we need to ensure that the residents do not get mishandled in this whole process, and that the pickups are done and the language is put in there for them pickups. Those things need to be in that ordinance, so they're not going to be changed on a whim and say, oh, we're not doing that anymore. So that's what really needs needs to be done here. And I think that I agree with Angie that we need need a little more time on this. And that as you have heard to this evening, that this has been a wave, but here's the wave, is that the council started the motion, all right? Because the administration has been late to the game. And that's a fact. And I will say that I think that we have the best interest of everybody in our sites. And that, to be fair to everybody, is that I agree that we should have a structured fee that is not supplementing or not supplementing, but underwriting the sanitary district, that it is a public service. I think everybody understands that, for the cleanliness of the city. And I think there's some deficiencies in the sanitation department because I'm going to mention this. Mr. James Kinsel ran the refuge for many years and ran it with a profit and made money for the city of Michigan City. And what I was told today, that there's not somebody writing down or having for pickups, they're getting a recording, they're not getting an actual person. So I think that a lot of these things need to be resolved.
And just to add real quick too, and I don't think the public is educated on pickups, because I was told that, people move in, they don't know, when their garbage schedule, they don't know that they can't leave the containers out. We haven't educated the community on the rules. And so if I see my neighbor doing it, then I'll do it. And I think that's something that has to happen after this is done, is that, maybe it goes out in the water bills and just some education pieces, because I don't think people know. I mean, if I have, fall, spring pickup, but if I have something out of the ordinary, I just call it in, and people just, you leave a message. And I think it's an educational thing. I don't think people understand that. And if they knew that there was a fee or something, maybe they would take different steps, but I don't think the public knows that. The ones that do know it are the repeat offenders. But as far as the average citizen, I don't think they know. And I think that's part of the problem.
Yeah, Mr. President.
Councilman Preselinski.
Yeah, if I may, the two ordinances that are before us this evening, they weren't written by councilmen. They were written by the city attorney in conjunction with the code inspection department and the sanitary district. And then they presented it to us, and this is what we're voting on here, and this is what we're working on. So all the ideas that are here came from those folks up there. It didn't come from council members. And I'm gonna respond to this red tag. I'm not even gonna call it an issue. I think it's kind of mute. So okay, I'm putting a fence up. My cousin and I are putting a fence up. And Monday I came down to City Hall, sat down, talked to Chris, showed her the plans, gave her my $40 or $50. She says, okay, come back Wednesday or it'll be done in a few days. And I said, okay. Call my cousin up. He came over Tuesday. We started putting in a couple 4x4s. We get red tagged. The next morning I get a call, come and pick up your permit. So within 24 hours, I had a permit. So it's not like I was doing anything criminal. Maybe we got a day's head start on what was going on, but possibly because I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not getting into a back and forth issue about something as minute as that, but trying to raise it up to another level to point out that a councilman is doing something wrong. Unbelievable. Thank you.
Any other comments from the council? I had one comment. I think it's pretty common knowledge that abuse leads to restrictions. Our system has been abused. People leave couches outside, they leave mattresses outside, they'll destroy a floor and leave it outside. They'll demo their basement and leave it outside. This stuff's just out there for weeks. I remember, as a young councilman, when I first started, I would calls and calls and calls where there'd be stuff left outside, no one be able to get it. Once the refuges, they still have to do their regular pickups of trash, so we don't put ourselves in a situation where we have biohazards just sitting around, things growing inside toters. But these things are a process, and I think we're to the point where we have to say enough is enough. And I think that's the goal of these two ordinances, is to make sure that the system isn't being abused to the point where we have to operate at a deficit in order to just pick up trash. Contractors know they need to get dumpsters. People doing major remodels on their house know they need to get dumpsters. If you can't break it up, put it in a garbage bag and sit it inside the toter, there need to be special measure taken. Everybody, we shouldn't have to be to a point where we have to amend ordinances and put new permitting structures in place to deal with this stuff. But this is where we are. So I think that's the goal that everybody's trying to do, just so our city doesn't look like a dump. So I think everybody can, rest assured that we're just trying to make this situation better and just so our city's clean. So is there any motions on this?
I'll make a motion to table this ordinance for our third meeting, our last meeting in October, or no. Our
Support.
second meeting in November. So I'm looking for, do you have a date on that, Gail?
That'll be the 20th. Oh, sorry, 21st.
Okay, November 21st, 2023.
Mr. President, can I make a comment?
There's a motion on the floor, but that has not been seconded. Oh, so we have a motion by Councilman Paul Prespolinski and seconded by Councilwoman Deitch. Councilwoman Tillman. We have one. Can we do a comment before the vote? Yeah, so Councilman Cora, Dr. Cora.
Yeah.
Is it Councilman Cora or Dr. Cora?
Yeah, whatever you want to call, that's fine.
Make sure I put the right respect on your name.
Thank you very much. I listened to this discussion, and if we are going to table it, my request is we should be specific in what we want to see happen in this time frame. Like if it's like a fee, how much fee? And then one of the gentlemen here from the public made a comment that it should be not punitive, and also it should be, we should be a welcoming community, and we obviously want to keep it clean. But also we should, with the double tracking and all, there is a lot of activity going on. We want to be a welcoming community. So to the extent possible, we should make this language simple and easy to understand and easy to implement. That's my suggestion.
Thank you, Councilman. Is there any amendments to the motion? Okay. Ms. Nyla, on the vote, please.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Nay.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Mr. Matt,
Nay.
Ms. Deitch,
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
and Mr. Cora.
Aye.
We have 7 in favor and 2 opposed.
Thank you, Ms. Nyla.
We want to take a 5-minute break.
Thank you.
Call the meeting back to order.
Yes.
Well,
Who we missing? Who's missing? Oh, Tracy. We have Ms. Nyla, can you please read our next ordinance on third reading by title only?
An ordinance on third reading by title only, ordinance or resolution for appropriation and tax rates. And this is introduced by Mr. Fitzpatrick and Mr. Paul Prespolinski.
Any comments from the sponsor?
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Councilman
would-
Prespolinski.
I would like to make a motion to rescind our previous action on our amendment at our last meeting.
Support.
We have a motion by Councilman Paul Prespolinski and seconded by Councilwoman Deitch. Ms. Nyla on the vote, please.
Ms. Tillman,
Can I understand the what?
Oh, the 2 million.
For Councilman Forward.
Would you like to explain for Dr. Cora what we're doing, please?
Yes, at the last council meeting, the council took action relative to the budget to reduce $2 million. And they were real specific about how they wanted that to happen. There was a workshop that was held yesterday, and discussion was held. And now I believe the motion that's on the floor is to rescind that action of reducing the budget by 2 million.
Okay, thank you.
I was looking for Councilwoman Tillman. No. Before we take the vote. But we'll proceed. Ms. Nyla on the vote, please.
Tillman,
Missing.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Mr. Mack,
Aye.
Ms. Deitch,
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Mr. Cora,
Aye.
and Mr. Paul Prespolinski.
Aye.
We have 8 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you, Ms. Nyla. Any other comments from the sponsor?
Yes, after our workshop yesterday, we were given a sheet, and I thought that was kind of not to say obnoxious, but knee jerking, that the administration felt fine with cutting the police cars out of the public safety lit tax, which I thought was inappropriate, and that's one of the reasons that I made that motion this evening to none of our intent was to shortchange the police department. The administration felt fine with doing that through the controller's office. I want to make that specifically clear to the general public on why this happened. Now, there were some other cuts in the in there that I thought were perfectly fine, but the patrol vehicles I thought was over the top, because we had been done that lit tax, and I think that that we were using that money for a purpose. So I want to make a motion, and you should have the paperwork in front of you to cut out of fund 2235 Riverboat money under the engineer under capital outlay of $750,000, which was miscellaneous paving, which was not designated for anything, and to put that back in the Riverboat.
Sorry, can you repeat that motion one more time?
You should have a copy.
I do have it.
Okay.
Is that this,
Yes,
the seventh?
right. And then the other one is on the central services. Cause they talked about that they were okay with not getting that one piece of equipment.
So the motion is for these two items?
No, it's one item. It is,
The miscellaneous paving
yes, miscellaneous paving.
in the
and
amount
so-
of 750,000.
Right, to put that back in the riverboat fund. And I do know that we were, we got an ordinance. But the main thing is that we're gonna have some new council people up here, and I do not want them to be misled. Or I just think it should stay in the riverboat, and you don't have to make that fund. If you're gonna come up with a plan, I think that when it comes to paving, there needs to be a plan for the whole city, and that everyone, and there's a workshop, and then there's so the public can have input, council has input, and then when you go forward from there, and that you adhere to the paving, the Pazer paving scores on the streets, not willy-nilly all over town. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
I will. I think Councilman Dabney wanted to make a comment, and then I'll go after you.
I
You
think I
want
know,
me to?
I think I know what you're gonna say.
Yes,
Um,
but go ahead.
Yeah, the original motion that was made had already put that $750,000 back into the riverboat. Matter of fact, it put the whole 2 million back wherever it came from.
Right, so I think we're talking more about semantics, just so we're clear. What you're proposing is to rescind, and what has already been adopted now tonight is to rescind the $2 million cut that took place at the last meeting. That
Right.
puts all the money back in, right? That puts that whole 2 million back in to where it came from. So now if your proposal is to cut something, to make a cut,
Right.
the only thing that you'd be proposing is just the cut, not necessarily putting it back. There's nothing to put back, I guess is the point. It's already put back. Now we're only referring to cuts.
We're not appropriating it.
Correct.
Correct.
There's 2 million that you cut, you just put it back.
Right.
And now if you're proposing anything, the only thing we're talking about is a cut.
Right, correct.
Right, and it's.
I think it just got confusing when you said put back. I
Okay,
think it got a little confusing. So
Okay.
like I said, I think it's semantics, but if you want to restate it, just so there's no.
For the
confusion.
record,
Yeah.
yes.
okay, I want to cut 750,000 on the miscellaneous paving. Fund 2235 under the Department of Engineer of capital outlay. Streets. Okay,
So we have a motion by Councilman Paul Preselinski, and it was seconded by Councilwoman Deitch. You did second it. Oh, there was no second. I misspoke, sorry. So there is a motion. There's a motion by Councilman Paul Preselinski. Is there a second? Hearing none. That motion dies for lack of a second. Any other comments from the sponsor?
I would like to make another amendment on Department 116 Central Services, account number 445.020, machinery and other equipment, bucket truck of $267,750 to be cut from Central Services. That was said last night at the workshop that they were comfortable with not receiving that piece of equipment.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Councilman Paul Prespolinski and seconded by Councilwoman Deitch. Ms. Nyla on the vote, please.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Mr. Mack.
Aye.
Ms. Deitch.
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Mr. Cora.
Aye.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski
Aye.
and Ms. Tillman. We have 8 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you, Ms. Nyla. And Councilwoman Tillman will not be returning.
And Mr. President, I have an amendment I'd like to introduce.
Is that appropriate now or doing? Yeah, we're still on sponsor comments. So would it be doing council comments?
It's up to you. It's the prerogative of the chair.
Any comments from the public? Comments from the council?
Okay, I have to introduce my amendment
Yep.
first. Okay.
That's now.
Yeah. The amendment is to reduce Department Fund 505 in the park maintenance. And that's line item 44.050. Capital outlay improvements other than building. And it's at Gardena Park, resurfacing the walking trail. It's on a number 8 priority with the park department. Reduce that from 250,000 from 165,000. And some of the council members that were here yesterday heard my logic behind this, so I'll explain it to other council members that weren't here and to the public. And I've already talked to the park administration about this cut. But at Gardena Playground, we have a blacktop walking path that goes around Gardena Playground. And I walked around it. I walk around that path quite a bit. So I was looking at it and there are cracks in it, you know, like maybe every 20 feet, there's an expansion crack. And then there is a bad section, maybe 50, 60 feet, a little longer than that needs to be replaced. And then there might be a few spots here and there that might need professional attention. So then I talked to the street superintendent and said, well, on these cracks, why don't we just crack seal it like we do Franklin Street and other streets in town and see what we can get out of that? And I asked him, I go, what's your professional opinion? He goes, well, if you crack seal it and it being a walking path and not a street, that it should last every bit of 5 more years. So we could get 5 more years of life out of that. And the park department could take the other $115,000 and possibly do some other projects that they'd like to get done. And let's just, you know, let's experiment and see if the crack seal will work. And possibly we can do that in other avenues in the park department or other areas. So that's what my motion is. And like I said, I've taken Sean Smith out there, the street superintendent, and him and I walked the whole path, and he kind of agrees with my thinking about it.
I'll
That's my
second
motion.
that.
We have a motion by Councilman Paul, Don Prespolinski and seconded by Councilman Paul Prespolinski. Ms. Nyla on the vote, please.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Mr. Mack,
Aye.
Ms. Deitch.
I'm still thinking about it, so, aye.
Did she say yes?
Yeah, I did.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Mr. Cora.
Aye.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski
Aye.
and Mr. Dabney.
Nay.
We have 7 in favor and 1 opposed.
Thank you, Ms. Nyla. Any other comments from the council?
Yeah, I have a couple of comments.
Councilwoman Deitch.
So at a workshop yesterday, we talked through some of the cuts and that one of the things that specifically about that path, and I went out there with Councilman Privilinski as well. And I think it's a good idea to try it out. I know it was comments made that the whole thing needed to be replaced, but I didn't see that either. So that's why I support that. The only other thing is I want to commend, she's not here, but I do want to commend on this particular, the first ordinance for the budget, Councilman Tillman. She held, workshops. She reached out to the department head. She followed up with them. She met with the controller's office multiple times to try to streamline this process so that we wouldn't, make, as many drastic changes to the budget this evening. And she did a great job. She did a wonderful job. And I think she should be commended for it. I think she has streamlined the process with the departments by creating that form that they submit the information back to the finance committee. And I just want to make sure that she's acknowledged for the work that she has done to get to this point. So that's my comment for this, because I think the budget, and as we had our meeting yesterday, and some of the items that were in there to cut, if we were to make that $2 million cut, would have been impactful to the city. So I'm good with where we're at with this budget, and hopefully we move this thing along tonight. And I move for adoption.
We have a motion to approve by Councilwoman Deitch.
Second.
And seconded by Councilman Paul Preselinski. Ms. Nyla on the vote.
Mr. Mack,
Aye.
Ms. Deitch,
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Simmons.
Aye.
Mr. Cora.
Aye.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
and Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
We have 8 in favor and no one opposed. And
All right, this is passed. Ms. Nyla, can you please read our next ordinance on third reading by title only?
okay, an ordinance on third reading by title only, an ordinance setting salaries and wages for appointed officials and employees of the city of Michigan City, Indiana for the calendar year 2024. And this is also introduced by Mr. Fitzpatrick and Mr. Paul Prespolinski.
Any comments from the sponsors? Any comments from the public? Any comments from the council?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Councilman Dabney and second by Councilman Paul Preselinski. Ms. Nyla on the vote, please.
Ms. Deitch,
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski.
Aye.
Mr. Simmons.
Aye.
Mr. Cora.
Aye.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
And Mr. Mack.
Aye.
We have 8 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you, Ms. Nyla. Can you please read our next ordinance on third, excuse me, on third reading by title only?
An ordinance on third reading by title only, an ordinance setting the annual salary for the mayor. And this is introduced by Mr. Fitzpatrick and Mr. Paul Prespolinski.
Any comments from the sponsor? Any comments from the public?
What's the salary that's being proposed? It's hard to know what these numbers.
Well, this is a third reading. We've went through it extensively, so I don't have it in front of me right now at this moment, so maybe someone can pull it up. You want to?
And also, did you guys just manage to cut the budget by like $2.3 million? Did I
No.
follow that right? It
No.
went the other way, didn't it? All right.
Okay, the mayor's salary is $93,280.
And the proposed raise is 6%.
That's not total. You got a 10,000 stipend from.
That's just where it comes from. No, we're on the mayor's salary.
6% increase is roughly what you guys are proposing.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Point of
Right.
Yeah, this is public comment.
That is a 10,000 stipends from the water department and
That's not
sanitation
in,
department.
it's
It's his total
not in,
salary.
right, it's not an
Okay, I just,
additional.
you know, letting people know that.
Rodney McCormick, 617 Union Street. I think the mayor should forego this raise and give the money to vector control, park department, and the refuse department. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCormick. Any other comments from the public? Comments from the council?
Motion to approve.
Second,
Motion to approve by Councilman Dabney and seconded by Councilman Don Prespolinski. Ms. Nyla, on the vote, please.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
aye.
Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Mr. Cora.
Aye.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Nay,
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Mr. Mack,
Aye.
and Ms. Deitch.
Aye.
We have 7 in favor and 1 opposed.
Thank you, Ms. Nyla.
Mr. President, I'm sorry to.
Councilman
just
Dabney.
Ask a question, but can I just make a comment? real
Yes,
quick?
sir. Real quick.
Everything that's going on with the budgets and the salaries and that, this is for next year's budget. This is going to play in January. This is not.
2024.
Yeah, 2024. So this is not starting like next week or anything like that. This is for our 2024 budget. I just wanted to make that clear. That there, these salaries and that are not like tomorrow, next week or anything like that. They start in 2024 with the budget.
Thank you, Councilman Dabney. I figured we talked about this enough, so I didn't reiterate that at each comment, each time we go through it. So, Ms. Nyla, can you please read our next ordinance on third reading by title only?
An ordinance on third reading by title only, an ordinance setting the annual salary for the city clerk. And this is introduced by Mr. Fitzpatrick and Mr. Paul Prespolinski.
Any comments from the sponsors?
just for clarification purposes that this, part of the ordinance, on this salary was amended at our last meeting to accept the clerk's submitted budget with a full staff and not a deleted person in that office. And I want to say, as I reflected on this, that it's been from my interpretation of the code, that the clerk is a separate area of the city of Michigan City and an elected officer of that department and manages that department. All right, not an appointed official. And that we are accepting her submitted budget to us. So I want to say, in all the years that I served in elected office, I've never seen such overreach by an administration. Never. I've always seen that people have always respected in the clerk's office, and there's never been no big buff with the clerk's office. And I will tell you that, not too much happens around this city without the clerk's office, and it needs to have efficiency in there. And I believe it is run efficient, and that the clerk is her own person. And it's a shame that this situation that happened this year. And I believe that we should go ahead and pass it and get this side discussion over with. So I'll make a motion to accept. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're still just at sponsor comment, and as a sponsor, I just want to say this is only for the clerk salary, not the staff
All right.
in
I'm
our
sorry.
office. So
We'll get there.
that would have been.
I got more to say anyway.
There's nothing we can do with it. Any comments from the public?
Scott Mellon, 200 Kenwood. I'm sure the clerk deserves this raise.
I agree. Any other comments from the public? Comments from the council.
Motion to approve. Second.
Have a motion to approve by Councilman Dabney and seconded by Councilman Cora. Ms. Nyla on the vote, please. Is that a conflict for her to call a vote?
Just messing with.
Gotcha.
Gail, yes. Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Mr. Cora.
Aye.
Mr. Paul Prisbalinski,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Mr. Mack.
Aye.
Ms. Deitch.
Aye.
And Mr. Don Prespolinski.
Aye.
We have 8 in favor and no one opposed. And thank you very
Congratulations,
much.
Ms. Nyla. Can you please read our next ordinance on third reading by title only?
An ordinance on third reading by title only. An ordinance establishing salaries for the fire department of the city of Michigan City for the calendar year 2024. And this is also introduced by Mr. Fitzpatrick and Mr. Paul Prespolinski.
Any comments from the sponsor? Comments from the public?
Yeah, Tommy Klavik, 1316 Ohio Street. I'm also the Common Council appointee, the Michigan City Fire Merit Commission. The salaries for the membership of the fire department, as I already said, was negotiated by their union. I do have the amended 2024 salaries of the members of the Michigan City Fire Department. I'd like to run those down. The training officer, fire marshal, and battalion chiefs will make $75,166.40 a year. A captain will make $73,085.60 a year. A lieutenant will make $73,085.60 a year. A driver operator, $68,924 a year. A first class firefighter with 3 years of service will make $68,924. A firefighter with 1 to 2 years, $66,843.20. A probationary fighter, get the $61,070 a year. The public information officer will get on top of their base pay a $1,000 stipend. And also, this is Article 12 of the contract. There's another article in the contract. If you're a specialist, you receive a $400 a month stipend. We want to thank Michael Mack for introducing this ordinance for the lit that opted Michigan City into it, and also the LaPorte County Council for unanimously voting in the lit. I know the LaPorte County Commission, they opposed the lit. I also want to add that these lateral transfers that are coming in, wherever they come from, they will not be keeping their merit rank. They will bump down to firefighter. However, they will keep their seniority because they are vested in with PERF. So when they come back as a firefighter, they have a real good chance of moving back up the ranks real fast. So just my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Klavik. Any other comments from the public? Any comments from the council?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by council.
Yeah, I got a comment.
Rescind the motion to allow comment.
Thank you. I would like to say that through our skills and negotiating team with the support of the city council, use the lit money efficiently to produce what we have right now is that people wanting to come to Michigan City instead of us training people and them going to different departments. And I think that the city council did this. And that's the true story, that the city council did it. It had nothing to do with the administration or anything like that. It was all the city council. And I want to congratulate everyone on the city council for getting this done this year. I think we did a great service to the city of Michigan City and the citizens and the businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. I think there are some firefighters in the room with us, though. Any other comments from the council?
Yeah, and I totally agree with Councilman Paul Prisbalinski, because I was on the negotiating team also, and I believe Mr. Dabney was on the negotiating team. And of course, the council voted the whole package and contract in, and the Michigan City firefighters are now up to full manning, I believe, at 81 firefighters. Mr. Klavik, you
Yes,
could
we are at
probably,
81, but I understand now our hiring list is depleted down to one. But like I said, we already, there are 20 are already in. It's just
right,
the interviews are just get their 5 final determination points.
Okay. Thank you very much. So what my point is I know that there's some naysayers in the public that say that the city council doesn't do very much for the city or is not very outgoing and doing good things for the city. But we do great things for the city. We take care of our workers. We take care of the fire department. We take care of the police department. And we're having lateral transfers from other firefighters from other cities coming over to Michigan City now. The same thing with the police officers. So that is a credit to the city council for being able to negotiate and come up with fair contracts for both our firefighters and our policemen. And I'm proud of that.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman.
I want to thank our corporate city attorney for helping us and giving us direction and coming up and keeping us in. I think Amber LePage, I want to thank you for all the input that you gave to us and the discussion inside those negotiations. Thank you very much, Amber.
Any other comments from the council? Councilman Dabney?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Councilman Dabney and seconded by Councilman Paul Prespolinski. Ms. Nyla on the vote, please.
Mr. Cora, Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Mr. Mack,
Aye.
Ms. Deitch,
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Aye.
and Mr. Simmons.
Aye.
We have 8 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you, Ms. Nyla. Can you please read our next ordinance on third reading by title only?
An ordinance on third reading by title only, establishing the salaries for the Michigan City Police Department for the calendar year 2024. And this is also introduced by Mr. Fitzpatrick and Mr. Paul Prespolinski.
Any comments from the sponsor? Councilman Prespolinski.
Just pretty much on the same lines as that we were talking about with the fire department negotiating team, and kudos to the team. I'm not looking for anything. I just felt that I gave a lot of good thought and support during those negotiations to the team members, and I appreciate being on that team so I could do a great service to the citizens of the city of Michigan City and the police officers to get us up to strength. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any comments from the public? Any comments from the council?
Mr. President, I want to make a comment that the safety and security of the community is one of the most important things. And by adopting these two ordinances, I think we are establishing our priorities right, and I'm very happy to see this happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cora. Councilman,
motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Councilman Don Prespolinski and seconded by Councilman Paul Prespolinski. Ms. Nyla on the vote, please.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski.
Aye.
Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Mr. Mack.
Aye.
Ms. Deitch.
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski.
Aye.
Mr. Simmons.
Aye.
And Mr. Cora.
Aye.
We have 8 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you, Ms. Nyla. Can you please read our next ordinance on third reading by title only?
An ordinance on third reading by title only, an ordinance setting the annual salaries for the common council members. And this is introduced by Mr. Fitzpatrick and Mr. Paul Prespolinski.
Any comments from the sponsors? Councilman Prespolinski.
I just, I don't really know, what kind of raise are they talking about here? $450 for the year?
6%.
6%.
$400.
So I would say that, you know, we cannot increase the salaries and we can't set the salaries, but you know, I take it I think that as much time that it's an unthankful job. And you do it. I never did it for pay. You do it because you care about your community and you want to make some kind of positive changes. So I believe that salary is pretty low for the time and that we commit to this organization. So that can all be dealt with next year, hopefully. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any comments from the public?
Rodney McCormick, 617 Union Street, as I said, with the mayor's salary increase, it should go to the workers. Vector control, refuge department, park department. Thank you.
Thank you,
Hi,
Mr.
Tommy Clavitt,
Farmer.
1316 Ohio Street. I disagree with Senior Council Member Paul Prespolinski. I believe that your salaries for the council ought to be apportionate to other cities around the state of Indiana with around a population of 30,000, basically a city of the third class. Now, we haven't been a city really have the population of a city of the second class probably in 40 years. I do, now Councilman Dabney, he pushed for this when he first came on. I do believe that all the council members should be offered health insurance for them and their families. I think we get a lot more more younger people wanting to run for council if you had health insurance offered for them. We'd have more people run for council and we got a lot of great young whippersnappers out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kalavic. Anybody know what a whippersnapper is?
Yes.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Any other comments from the public?
That I would say.
I haven't heard that in a while. So,
I'll make a motion.
I had in the comment.
yep, comments from the council. Councilman Dabney.
Yeah, real quick, Tommy pointed out that, I tried to push for city council to have insurance and even pay some of our salary to go into the insurance. But I do have to commend, when negotiations happened with the city and the new clinic that's down there on the corner of Cool Spring and Franklin. Amber LePage did work into that the council members can go into that clinic and use the clinic just like other city workers. And I did not know that until I was talking about something and she corrected me in her office to let me know that. So we can use that clinic down there on the corner of Cool Spring and Franklin. So just wanted to point that out for anybody that didn't know, just like me, because she corrected me when I started talking about that. So, kudos to her on getting that worked out for the city council members.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other comments from the council?
Yeah, Mr. President. Yeah, I am thankful for this job and I'm thankful for it every day of the week. I love serving the public of Michigan City. I love taking care of problems and solving problems and taking care of issues that residents call me about and get to know the residents better by doing that. And to me, it's a great sense of accomplishment in trying to make my city better. And yeah, I know we make $15,000. And when I first got on the council, I was satisfied with the amount we were making then. And I know we're never going to be like Elkhart, Mishawaka. I'll never make $30,000 up here. And I don't know if anybody's ever gonna make $30,000 a year being a councilman in Michigan City. So to me, that's really not the issue. But yeah, I enjoy my job and I enjoy the pay. I'm fine with that. And yeah, I'm in full support. But next year, in next year's budget, and I know that Council President Fitzpatrick has mentioned it, especially with the president's position and the head of the finance committee. There's a lot more that goes into it than just sitting up here and reporting on things. There's meetings that go on behind the scenes and trying to keep things running smoothly, that the pay for those two positions should possibly, be a little bit more, a couple thousand, maybe for being a president and, 1,500 or 1,000 for being the chairman of the finance committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Preselinski. Any other comments from the council? Real quick, I do want to reiterate, this is a thankless job and, we do it just because this is what we do. We're public servants at our core. And I don't think anybody up here is doing this to try to get rich because it's not possible. So, and I also think that the president and the finance chair should be have a little more incentive to take those roles because they are, there's a lot more responsibility that goes into, being the finance chair. I've sat in that position, so I know what all it entails. And being the president, this is my second time as president. The first time I was president, we got hit with COVID. So we were trying to work through all of that. We were doing Zoom meetings and making decisions about the safety of the city, closing things down and stuff. So it was a lot that went into that. And not saying that, I needed some more money, but it was just, the people that step up to take these roles, they should be incentivized. There may be others that would be willing to do that if it, took a little more. I mean, every document that we pass, I have to sign. So there's a lot of things with the agenda that I have to be involved in. So it's a lot more that goes into it. Is just what I wanted to reiterate. And I'm not interested in being a president next year. So I'm not trying to jockey for some more money. So any other comments from the council?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to
Second.
approve by Councilman Dabney and seconded by Councilman Paul Preselinski. Ms. Nyla on the vote, please.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Mr. Mack,
Aye.
Ms. Deitch,
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Mr. Cora,
Aye.
and Mr. Paul Prespolinski.
Aye.
We have 8 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you, Ms. Nyla. We have one last ordinance on third reading by title only. Could you please read that?
An ordinance on third reading by title only, creating Article 10 and Chapter 22 entitled Rental Inspection Program. And this was introduced by Ms. Delia Zegas.
So since Councilwoman Jigas is no longer with the council, technically this legislation has no sponsor. So is anyone willing to sponsor this? And note, it was tabled at our August 15th meeting until this meeting. So if there's no one willing to sponsor this will die for lack of a sponsor.
Okay.
All right. New business, we have none. Unfinished business, we have none. Comments from the public? Any comments from the public?
Hey, Tommy Klavik, 1316 Ohio Street. Just wanna say we have good news and Monday, they're gonna start reconstructing Paz Road. You won't have to hear me complain about Paz Road. They said it's gonna take first 4 days, they're gonna do it while Michigan City High School is on spring break, so everybody just kind of gonna take 2 weeks to do it, so avoid that area. While they're reconstructing Paz Road. I don't have to complain about Paz Road or purple streetlights. Another thing I won't have to complain about is all the junk vehicles on my late neighbor Bill Praschek's a junk lot across the street from me. They came and towed them all away Saturday. I know Mayor Dermott, he's getting all those cleaned up in LaPorte. I'm glad to see Michigan City. I want to thank Councilman Don Perez-Zablinski and Paul Perez, even Christine Vanderborg from Code Enforcement. They all came out and we got that all cleaned up now. I think the new neighbors are taking that over. It's very upsetting to me. I saw a young juvenile delinquent. He decided to set fire to the Marquette Athletic Complex baseball dugout, and hopefully he allegedly, hope they end up throwing the book at him. I want to commend the fire department for battling that major junkyard fire they had on Muir Road. It was just after we had to give the physical agility test to one of the applicants that didn't get his letter that day. So like 2 hours later, they had to go out and fight that fire after we got done testing him. So on that, I want to just say, have a good day. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Kalawick. Any other comments from the public?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I know it's getting late. Scott Mellon, 200 Kenwood Place. I'm going to go back to the previous council meeting because that meeting, a lot of ire was directed at landlords as some dark force. And in having a sidebar conversation with one of the council people, I found there was a frankly major misunderstanding of how taxes work. To be clear, in Indiana, if you're a homestead residential property, owner occupied property, you pay a 1% property tax. We're capped at 1%. And effectively we pay a 1% because our tax rate in Michigan City is almost 4%. So the cap leaves us at 1. Non-owner occupied residential properties have a 2% property tax rate. The council member I spoke to, when I asked him if landlords were taxpayers, he said yes. And I said, do they pay more or less? And he said they pay less. It was a fundamental misunderstanding of how taxes work. So a lot of ire is directed at the garbage they produce and so on and so forth. Nationally, 35% of people are renters. I imagine in Michigan City, it might be slightly higher. Is it really? We have a really old housing stock, as I said earlier. And we should be encouraging rehab and quality housing for people. But it's important to understand that landlords pay essentially double. And to be sure I was correct on this, I've spoken twice to Kimmy Fain in the LaPorte assessor's office, face to face. And she remembers speaking to the common council member about this. And to be clear, 2 identical properties. One's rented, one's non-owner occupied. That second property pays double the taxes. So instead of looking at landlords as some evil force, we have to recognize they provide a good service and they pay higher taxes. And that's something to keep in mind. We have an equal protection clause in the Constitution. Be very careful on proposed legislation that singles out landlords. Landlords are risk takers. They provide a service. It's a thankless service. Nobody thanks their banker or their landlord, I found out. So, there are challenges for everybody's businesses, but be aware that frankly, non-owner occupied properties pay higher taxes and help subsidize everybody else's in effect. I think that's important to keep in mind. Second issue is, I'm still not a fan of the surveillance cameras. I think it's a false prophet to security. And a final thing, I've spoken to several of you since the last meeting, but my council member didn't return my call. And I would suggest that if they want my support in the next election, and this really applies to all council people, that they should respond to direct outreach from their constituents. Because we're all busy, but nobody's too busy to return a call. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Rodney McCormick, 617 Union Street. We do have a lot of good landlords, but it's the few bad ones and make it bad for everyone. So let's not make any mistake that all the landlords are great people, but we do have a lot of them that are good. And I applaud those who are doing the best they can do and doing the right thing by the city. We was talking about a homeless issue I didn't get a chance to talk about. And they talked about putting the benches back up, I guess they're up now, back up. All that's fine and dandy. We have a serious homeless issue here. Me and Sean Fitzpatrick, was it a year ago, went to Amesfield, talked to a few of them. And most of them didn't live here. They weren't from Michigan City. We don't know their background. We don't know nothing about them. I'm not saying that we should violate their due process rights or any rights, but we should at least, if we're gonna really help them, let's make sure they got all the credentials they need to go on in life, to get a job, to get help, to get medical assistance. We need to get them ID. We need to get all these people ID'd and ask them where they came from and reach out to their family members. And maybe we can get them back on the right track or get them back home where they want to be. A lot of these individuals said they was dropped off on a bus. Some of them said they was put on the South Shore. They said, if Michigan City will feed you, that's where you should go. The day I was underneath the Hanson Park Bridge, and I just seen so many white containers. I mean, I don't know where I guess they're coming from the shelter. It was a disaster. But we got it all cleaned up, and I just want to, maybe we can reach out to the shelters and also let them know that a lot of the stuff that they given them are ending up on city right-of-ways and city streets. Mutual respect is something that even the homeless should have for us as well. We have mutual respect for them. They should have mutual respect for the city and the city's property. I'm sure we'll help them as much as we can, but they should have respect for our property. That's a nightmare. There's a lot of those camps set up all around the city. I'm going to clean up one tomorrow. So we just gonna keep doing what we have to do. Now, my next question is for the golf course. Did they have insurance? Was there a claim filed with the insurance company with the garage door being tore down? And if so, where did that money go to? Was that put back in the general fund? Where did that money go to? Do we even know if their claim was even filed with the insurance company? These are problems that has been here for several years now. The same thing have been asked and asked and asked and asked. Maybe you want to cut their budget. Maybe you want to do something, hold them accountable some kind of way. We have departments that are notorious for tearing up vehicles, doing all kinds of things, and they'll never report it. And then you guys get it at the end, and then everybody blame you for trying to hold somebody accountable. I don't understand it. It's a sad day, and maybe it'll change. These elections that are coming up, people better look and see what they're doing and who they're voting for. If you think voting straight Democrat is going to be the answer, you're wrong. You need to start looking at individuals. Lastly, I heard you, Mr. Przybylski, talk about by not repaving the Gardena Park, you saved $115,000. I think I was kind of naive in thinking that maybe we can go to Walker Street Playground, Ridgeland Street Playground, and going out to Oak Hills and getting just a brand new basketball court surface. There are so many trip hazards on these courts that I'm speaking of. People are spraining their ankles. It's hard to play on those courts. If you fall down, you're going to need a skin graft to recover. I don't understand why in our communities where our income might not be as high as Long Beach or anyone else, but we continually we are neglected time and time again, year after year, and we continue to expect. We vote the same people in, and we still don't get results. Don, I thank you for teaching me and showing me, because I follow you a lot. Paul, you as well. I'm sorry to see you go. I know you're gonna stay active, but it's the same three old faces Don, Paul, and Rodney McCormick, every time at the Board of Works meeting, fighting for the citizens of the city. It means a lot. You know, it goes, we don't never get thank you or any of that. The calls are ridiculous that I receive. I'm not even an elected official. This is nonsense, but you know, one day we might just do better and elect people that really care about the wards that they are in. And I'm not speaking that anybody up here is bad or not, but we got to realize that if you have so many complaints and so many problems, why do you keep voting the same? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCormick.
Ernie Hollahan, 302 Gladys Street. Charging me $5 for my rental properties just to register it down here. Why would you charge me $5? He got a whole list last meeting of all the rental properties. It's available for you. Why you charge me $5 to come down here and register my rental properties? That's $5 out of my pocket for nothing. We started out with a crazy ordinance. It's dwindled down to registering now. She's left. Now he's taken over. What's he gonna add to it now? It's been going on way too long. Mr. Dabney tried it once before and it died. You need to put this aside and let it go. If there's any rental problems, you will find them without charging us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hallahan.
Socrates Gray, 2030 Warnke Road. I just have a question about the Safe Neighborhood Act, the $15,000 were appropriated that was never spent, never paid for these solar lights for the alleyways. The money's still sitting there and there has not anything happened. It's been since last July. I mean, that's a little long. I just hoping that there's some sort of update direction, who's going to take care of it, who's going to facilitate it. Also, I noticed when I went through that the solar power lights won't charge under 32 degrees. So we might want to look at a different solar light that would be effective in the alleyways. Like I said, you approved this on July 21st of last year, and yet it's still sitting there. So hopefully we get an update to that and maybe we get some of the alleyways safe. So that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Gray.
Brad Minnick, Haas and Associates. I have an update to the schedule that Tommy offered for Paz Road. They're gonna start in 2 weeks. I had met with the contractor in the Port County earlier today. They're gonna start the week of the 16th with anticipated completion by Saturday, the 21st, weather permitting, and that will fall during their fall break. So the county is going to put up advanced signage in the next week. And any other questions about the project?
Councilman Prespolinski.
Brad, I probably won't be at the Board of Works meeting, but we did talk and can you go into any detail with the council and the general public about your underlayment on that clay moraine that's actually out on the south end of town?
So we had discussed with the contractor, as I mentioned at the last meeting, the intention to stay within the existing paved surface to keep a crust to avoid breaking into that what you think is unsuitable material underneath it.
Okay. No further culverts or anything for drainage in that area?
No, the culverts are about 10 years old and the anticipated service life on a culvert's about 40. So we
Okay.
talked to the contractor about potentially wedging them.
Okay,
But that was
okay.
the extent of that.
All right.
discussion about that.
Thank you, Brad.
Sure.
Any other comments from the public? Any other comments from the public? Comments from the council? Councilman, Don Prespolinski.
A couple of comments. Now, one thing I want to talk about, I know we didn't get a chance to talk about it during the budgets that we were going over here. Is this issue in the clerk's office? And I know the public's probably not made aware of this, but I'm gonna make them aware of it now, and if they want to listen, fine. If not, they can take it for what it's worth. But what the mayor has proposed to do, well, in the clerk's office, there's the clerk and assistant clerk, and then the assistant clerk. All right, and what the mayor wants to do is cut out the assistant's clerk's job, because he feels she's not doing her job properly. Okay, and I don't know how much time he spends in the clerk's office to determine what kind of work that this young lady has to do and what she actually gets done. But at no time did he ever go and talk to her supervisor, which is the Michigan City Clerk, about her job performance, nor did he go talk to the personnel director of Michigan City about her job performance. He's just decided on his own that he's going to eliminate this job. Now, the reason this job cannot be eliminated, and today is a prime example, is because you have the clerk here and the assistant clerk here, because the assistant clerk is off sick. So that leaves two people in that office. Now, if Amanda gets sick and she's off for a couple of days, that leaves one person in the city clerk's office to run that very important office. But yet he has not come up with a summary or a job performance of why this young lady, her job needs to be eliminated. So then we have some rulings from attorneys. Jewel Harris, our council attorney, gave his opinion on the situation. And also a letter from the city clerk to the mayor about this, which I'm going to read. It says, dear Mayor Perry, I was surprised to see from the budget worksheet report for the 2024 budget that you eliminated the position of assistant deputy clerk from the proposed 2024 budget for my office. This was done without, and let me emphasize, without discussing the matter with me, even though I am the elected official and she has control over the office. Perhaps you were not aware that Indiana law places the authority for determining the number of staff for my office with me and the council without any input from the mayor. IC code 36-4-11-4 provides that I can appoint as many deputy clerks as authorized by the council. In addition, IC 36-4-7 3 provides that, subject to a council approval, I can set the salaries for my employees. This is Indiana code. This isn't Dwayne Perry's code. Perhaps you're not aware of all the work performed and many services provided to the public and others by the clerk's office, but I can assure you that even without your proposed reduction in my staff, we can hardly keep up with the workload. Because I have a statutory duty to make sure that the clerk's office does not work and does work and provides the required services. I intend to proceed to discuss the 2024 budget for my office, including the number of deputies and their salaries, with the council as Indiana law requires. Respectfully, Gail A. Nyla, the city clerk. And here's the opinion from Jewel Harris, our council attorney sitting right here. Gail, the statutory provisions provided to you by Attorney Meyer are right on point. I would recommend that you or Attorney Meyer write to the mayor and argue that he does not have the authority to affect positions or salaries within the budget for your office. And then there's a case stated here, and that the position that he's attempting to eliminate is reasonably necessary for you to properly discharge your duties as the elected city clerk. And there's another case stated. In the event the mayor refuses to return the position to the budget, there are various types of legal challenges that you can be made in court. However, I do not think the budget is presented to the council without the position that you need. And on and on and on. So I just wanted to make that aware to the public of what's going on in the clerk's office and the mayor trying to play a power play on the city clerk's office. And if this does happen, what it's going to affect, it'll affect the efficiency of the clerk's office. And in turn, it'll affect the whole operation of the city. It'll affect the operation of the city council, because everything that comes to us comes right through the city clerk's office. And that's how we get all our information and all our ordinances and resolutions and agendas for the meeting. A couple more things. And Mr. McCormick mentioned one of them, and that was at the Mamie Sanders apartment complex on 11th Street, that there were some issues there. And I met Mr. McCormick there, I think it was Wednesday morning, possibly Wednesday, Thursday morning. And Vector Control was there, street department was there, cleaned up all the way around the apartment complex, took care of some security issues, took care of some lighting issues, and the corner lot had a foot-high grass there, and Vector Control came and cleaned all that up. So I'm proud to say that that whole block has been cleaned up and is presentable. And like I told the neighbors that called me, were complaining to me, I said, and they go, we've been living with this for a long time and blah, blah, blah. I said, well, folks, I'm going to give you a little advice. Nobody in Michigan City, I'm not talking saying to you folks, but to the folks I was talking to there, that nobody in Michigan City has to live like that in those conditions in their neighborhood. And if they can't get a hold of their representative to help them out, then they need to come right here to the council meeting, right there at that podium, and complain to the city council to get the stuff done. Okay, if it doesn't work upstairs in the mayor's office, then you come right down here to this podium, and I'll guarantee you, it'll get done. So I just want to thank Mr. McCormick and his organization and the street department and vector control for taking care of that. And I had one more. I think that's it for tonight. Thank you.
Going once. Councilman Paul Prespolinski.
I will give you a heads up that I am gonna be scheduling a workshop on the fire truck issue, because I think we need to address that and make a commitment on that truck. If it drags on, it's gonna cost us a gob of more money. And I think for all intents purposes, with things that are gonna happen here, that we need to get that piece of equipment. But on what Don had talked about is I'm just gonna call it the way I see it. This situation with the mayor and the clerk's office is totally petty. Petty. And that's what we've been dealing with for the last 3 years. Pettiness. And an individual that likes to get back at you. So I'm calling it the way it is, and I'm not ashamed of it. And it's really sad. All administrations that I've worked with have never been, this is the most despicable administration that I've worked with in my total years of public service. And let me tell you, I've had a lot of disagreements with the mayors, but it's having a discussion or a disagreement is you can still find common ground. With this administration, it's my way or the highway. Well, yeah, you know that, take that to the bank. It's pretty sad, because of one instance with a piece of fire equipment that man said in that vestibule that, oh yeah, I'm totally behind that fire truck. 2 days later, I got a call saying that he was totally opposed to it. Well, we kept going forward on it. And I said, council members, well, if we gotta go ahead and pass a resolution or whatever we gotta do, because I don't even recall how many times we overrode this administrator on overriding vetoes in this administration. It's got to be a record. No, I think we'll research that and we'll discuss that at a later date. It's sad. It is sadness for the people of Michigan City. Thank you.
One more comment, Mr. President. Mr. Kalavic. I'm going to tell you, because the Michigan City Council is the one that appointed you to the Fire Commission. Correct? All right. And I'm going to tell you that me being a city councilman, you can wear that badge whenever you want, wherever you want, and don't be embarrassed about it or let anybody tell you that you can't wear it. Because what took place at the Board of Works meeting yesterday morning, where the mayor told you to stop wearing the badge or you had to hide the badge or whatever, there is no, I checked with the city attorney, there is no law in the state of Indiana that dictates when you can wear your badge and when you can't wear your badge. So it's not like at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you got to take your badge off and hang it up. I know you're proud of it. You wear it whenever you want to. You don't have to be intimidated by somebody calling you out at a public forum and telling you, hey, put your badge away. It doesn't look proper or whatever he's saying. So you can wear it whenever you want to. Thank you.
I just say that it's not the city that purchased the badge, it's local firefighters, local 475 that purchased our badge out of our union dues. So that's how we get our badge. I plan on getting one of those shirts. You can get a cop, go to Reprographic Arts and order a shirt and get a transfer on your badge, like kind of like Chief Forker. And Commissioner Greg Deutscher has a couple of those shirts, and that's what I'm gonna get.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Carter.
Mr. President, I just want to take a moment to thank all of you for the welcome and helping me get oriented to the council. And also I want to take a moment to thank Clerk Gail Nylup for helping me onboarding. So thank you very much. I look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Dr. Cora. Any other comments from the council?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. Have a good night.
Right.
Happens stuff.